Okay, so we're on page 47, the key to shrubs. Do we all agree that this is a shrub? Yes. Okay, I'm not going to back up into that. Okay, page 47. Leaves and or branching habit usually opposite or whorled, or leaves and or branching habit usually alternate basal or in loose rosettes. This one's a bit challenging. You often need to look at the older portions with leaves. What do you guys think? Huh? Alternate. Okay, so 2. Leaves compound or simple? Okay, let me read the entire couplet. Leaves simple and or basal, sometimes palmatifid, fascicled, or pinnatifid, but not compound. What does it mean to be fascicled?
Like a pine, like how it has leaves looking like it coming out the same note.
Okay, so it appears that there are multiple leaves sheaths coming out of a single base. That's kind of what we've got here, okay? So we're gonna go with 3. Stems and our leaves spinescent or not? Not. So we're going to group D, page 65. All right, stems fleshy or not? No, they're very much woody, right? 2, stems or leaves more or less scurfy or mealy, at least when young, herbage often silvery or gray-green, or stems and leaves not scurfy, sometimes hairy, other characters may vary. You think it's silvery gray-green, so do I. However, if I'm correct in my understanding of this, it's not that. But I could be wrong.
It'll take you to all the salt bushes.
It will take you to all the salt bushes.
And that's as far as we go. And I realize if I went the other way, it'll probably go the right way.
Okay, I'm gonna, just a minute. This couplet is a little challenging because they are definitely silvery gray-green in my opinion.
Yeah, you have to take 14 to get
Yeah, okay, so if we take 3, let's just try it. Let's just go on 3 and see what happens, okay? Let's take 3 and we're gonna go to buds globose, axillary prominent, or buds not as above. I'm gonna say not. Then we're going to 5. Leaves usually linear, lanceolate, oblanceolate, ovate, oblong, spatulate, or elliptical, sometimes petiolate. May or may not be in Washington County. What? Oh, that's B. Versus A, leaves usually deltoid, rhombic, or ovate triangular. Sometimes subhastate, petiolate, plants of Washington County. So definitely not that one, right? We're not in Washington County. So we would take 7. Leaves petiolate. Okay, are they petiolate? They appear sessile. It's hard to tell because the leaf blade actually tapers so narrowly down to the base. There is a minute petiole here, but it's hard to tell. So let's see. Elliptical, lanceolate, oblanceolate, Garfield, Daggett, and Summit counties. I would say no. Versus leaves sessile or nearly so, spatulate, oblanceolate, or linear. How would you describe the shape of these leaves? Does it kind of look like a spatula? Somewhat. Okay, we'll go with that one. 8. Longest leaves rarely to 2.5 centimeters long. Spatulate, obovate. Oblong, fine textured saline soils, Washington County. Versus longest leaves to 4 centimeters long, linear, oblanceolate, oblong, or obovate. Non-saline sandy soils. Are we in Washington County? No. We're going with 9. However, I don't think this fits. Plants layering. Fruiting branches more than 12 millimeters long, moving sand. Are we in a sandy area? Versus plants not layering, fruiting bracteoles less than 12 millimeters long. Okay, we're not in this Atriplex. Okay. So I think we've gone to the weeds, literally. Right? So let's back up and go back to the other couplet. Now we're back up to couplet 2. Now even though I definitely agree that these are silver green in color, so that couplet is a little misleading in my opinion. And unfortunately, dichotomous keys are not always perfect. So let's go ahead and take 14. We're going to move to 14. Stems appearing almost leafless, leaves sparse, inconspicuous versus leafy. Okay, 17. Leaves with a sage-like odor when crushed, or sometimes aromatic but not with a sage-like odor.
Sage-like odor.
Definitely sage-like, right? If you don't believe it, try and eat one. Okay, so now we're going to 18, okay? Subshrubs, typically in cliff crevices and steep rocky slopes. Mature leaves linear to broadly linear, or linear oblanceolate. Some toward the base are pinnately dissected or cleft. Pinnately dissected or cleft near the base of the leaf with linear segments. Leaves glabrous. Are these leaves glabrous? No. In fact, they're tomentose, so much so that's why they look silvery white. Okay, versus mostly shrubs, not typically growing in cliff crevices or steep rocky slopes. Mature leaves other than above. What do you think? We're going with 20, right? Okay, mature leaves all or mostly entire, sometimes irregularly lobed or with filiform or linear segments, versus mature leaves of vegetative stems lobed. Anyone? I'm looking at mine.
I don't think they're low.
There's like 3 little stems.
Okay,
Yeah, it will depend if you have just the ones with the flowers or the ones further down.
yeah, look at the ones further down. And I definitely see lobing. Okay, I see 3 little lobes. Almost looks like the toes of a cat or something. Okay. So then we're going to 22, right? All right, persistent leaves deeply cleft, usually more than 1/3 the length, versus shallowly cleft, usually less than 1/3 the length. What did you say?
Less than 1.
Definitely less, so we're going to 27. Mature plants 5 to 30 decimeters tall versus less than 5 decimeters tall. Okay, 5 decimeters is 50 centimeters. I believe this is much taller than 50 centimeters. Okay, so we're going with 31. Tips of mature leaf lobes usually acute. Flower heads with both ray and disc flowers, mostly nodding. Growth habit low, branched. Rimrock areas of the Colorado Plateau, often in canyons, ravines, or cliff faces. Versus tips of mature leaf lobes mostly rounded. Flower heads discoid only, erect.
I think we should have gone to 28 instead of 30.
Did I make the wrong one?
Yeah, because you went to the mature leaves less than 5 decimeters.
Oh, I sure did. So we're going to 28. Back up, my bad. 28. Leaves variable in shape and size with 3 to 6 irregular lobes or entire, the lobes rounded or acute. Leaf veins join closer to the base of the lobes than to the midpoint of the leaf. Inflorescence narrowly paniculate, extending well above the vegetative stems. Moist soils, 2100 to 3400 meters. Subalpine sagebrush. Versus leaves usually uniform in shape with 3 rounded shallow lobes. Leaf veins closer to the midpoint of the leaf than to the base of the lobes. We agree?
29.
Okay, I think everyone says 29. Leaves usually less than 3 times longer than wide with a camphor-like smell. Inflorescence narrowly paniculate, extending well above the somewhat flat-topped foliage. Plants 4 to 8 decimeters tall, 1800 to 3100 mountain sagebrush, versus leaves usually more than 3 times longer than wide. Inflorescence broadly paniculate, not conspicuously overtopping the rounded foliage. Would you consider this to be a rounded foliage or a flat-topped foliage? Would you consider the flowering spikes to be above the foliage or not?
About.
Okay, the leaves, are they less than 3 times longer than wide or more than 3 times longer than wide? Way more. Okay, that's a good one for this there, right? So we're going to 29, right? Yeah, 29. Leaves usually less, wait, did I skip that one?
Going to 30.
We were already on 29.
Oh, we were on 29. Okay, 29. Wait, what?
We're going to 30
Goes to
now.
30 from 29.
Okay, sorry, my bad. Leaves about 4 times longer than wide, branchlets and flowering heads of the inflorescence usually erect. Deep, well-drained soils, usually in valley bottoms and foothills where soil moisture is high. Widespread in cold deserts. Versus leaves usually more than 5 times longer than wide, 100 meters. Okay, so now we've converged onto a species. Now we're looking at a variety here, or a subspecies. So are the leaves about 4 times longer than wide or more than 5 times longer than wide? Can someone do some measuring for us? So I've got a leaf here that is 18 millimeters wide by 2, so that's 9 times longer. Well, I'm not sure if that's a mature leaf though.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of the leaves have fallen off.
Yeah, I agree.
I went with the first mostly because of we're not in the Mojave.
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about this, you guys. We're now between subspecies tridentata and subspecies Parishii, and one of them is the basin sagebrush or the Mojave sagebrush. Are we in the Mojave Desert? No, we're not. Okay, but again, this key is not quite perfect. But and then the branchlets and flowering head of the inflorescence, are they erect? For the most part, they are erect. They droop at the tips of the inflorescences. So I do believe that this is tridentata subspecies tridentata. Let's go to page 171. This is called the basin sagebrush, and if you look at that picture, it does look quite a bit like that. Basin sagebrush may grow up to 3 meters tall on favorable sites and forms large canopies. The leaves are 2.5 centimeters or more long, narrowly cuneate, meaning tapering at the base. About 4 times longer than wide. I don't know about that. Usually with 3 terminal lobes that are not deeply incised and bear a dense covering of short, canescent, light grayish pubescence. The terminal spike-like or narrowly paniculate inflorescences arise from different levels within the plant and extend to various heights. The flowering heads are usually up to 4 millimeters wide, with involucres usually 1.5 to 2.5 millimeters long. Okay? All right. Blooms in late summer to late fall. Yeah. Okay. All right. Habitat and range. This subspecies prefers deep, well-drained, fertile soils in valley bottoms and along drainages of lower montane slopes. It is often conspicuous along roadsides and fences. Oh, look, there's a fence. Where moisture is more available. It occurs in all Utah counties. Basin sagebrush was used by early settlers in western North America as an indicator of valuable farmland, resulting in its decreased abundance and distribution because it was clear-cut. It is rather unpalatable to wild and domestic grazers, and often increases in overgrazed ranges because the deer and cows don't eat it, although the deer sometimes do eat it when they need to. It does not sprout after wildfire or mechanical damage. Ecologists consider this a keystone species. Galls from the sagebrush gall midge are common on leaves and stems. Native Americans use this plant for fuel, medicines, ceremonies, textiles, and as a disinfectant. Tridentata refers to the 3 lobes or teeth of the leaves. So, keystone species. Remember how I mentioned earlier that if we cut back the sagebrush, what happens, to that ecosystem? This is an indicator of the health of an ecosystem, in particular the sagebrush steppe. Okay, any questions on this guy?
How would it be considered a keystone species if, like, animals aren't really eating it? And,
Okay.
I don't know, just
So that's a good point though, because if we have a grazing population of cows or something, they won't eat this, right? And so often it's considered keystone because it can tell us about the health of an ecosystem. And if removed, that ecosystem can collapse. So if it's very prevalent in an overgrazed situation, it will propagate in an overgrazed area because it's being disturbed and it's opening up. But if a fire goes through an area, it does not reseed. And therefore that ecosystem will turn into a grassland until it reseeds from nearby populations. Okay? That's why it's considered keystone. If you can look at the land and if you see it there, then you know, and we're in a sagebrush steppe community, right? And we are, the large portion of Utah is considered sagebrush steppe. Very large. And so if this is there, then you know the healthy ecosystem exists. If it's in great numbers, you know there's an overgrazing problem. If it's not there, you can suspect a fire. Okay? All right, any other questions? Yeah.
So on the list, it just has Tridentata. Do you want us to know the subspecies as well?
I would like you to know the subspecies, but I'm not gonna, if I ever quiz you on this or put this on the exam, I'll go to species, not subspecies. Okay? So this, for all intents and purposes, this is for you guys Artemisia tridentata. Right? And what's the common name of tridentata?
Common sagebrush or
Common sagebrush. Okay. And what about the family? Asteraceae, one of the largest plant families on Earth, and very difficult to keep out.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone agrees. All right. Okay. All right. Good. So, has anybody here hunted deer or eaten deer? One time we had a deer. I don't know where we got it because we